Favorite cartoon character, specifically from Nickelodeon.
So, oh, okay, wait. Because now I'm trying to think about is my favorite character overall from my favorite show?
That's a valid distinction, but it don't have to
Because
be.
it'll come to me. Give me just
Bear with me. Bear with me.
because okay,
And I wonder if it'll help if we just start naming Nickelodeon shows. Danny Phantom, Hey Arnold.
I couldn't really get into Hey Arnold like that. I really couldn't. It wasn't my jam as much.
That's awkward. That was my favorite show, but we'll keep going.
Ah, I'm sorry. No, I mean it was cool. Like I watched it, but like it was just kind of there for me, like it just okay. So I just to give you an answer because I will literally sit here spinning my wheels for like 30 minutes. I think growing up, I always viewed Squidward as such like a negative character and everything. But I relate to him so heavy now. Like I really do. Like, he was just trying to do his job half the time, just an annoying coworker. Like I feel that. So for now, I'll just say Squidward.
I rock with that answer. Did you ever watch PBS Run Up?
Probably nothing is like jumping out. Like what was that show? Arthur? Was that on PBS?
Hmm.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure I did watch those shows, but those weren't as like prominent as like the Nickelodeons, the Cartoon Networks, and Disney
Mm,
Channel shows.
I got you. Now PBS defined a piece of my personality with Cyber Chase and Between the Lions.
Hmm. I don't know either of those. I'm sorry.
We can end the interview right here. It's fine.
I feel like it's okay if we have to end our friendship here.
No.
That's fine. I didn't mean it.
No. So, what was that one childhood toy or plaything that, like, when you got it for Christmas, it was a big deal. When you got it for your birthday, it was a big deal. Like, what was that one thing from childhood that's like, that was one of the best gifts I ever received when I was 9 or something like that?
I wasn't the kind of person to like play with dolls and stuff growing up. That wasn't
Mm.
that wasn't my thing. Um, I I played with a lot of I don't want to say like boys toys, but I guess I kind of did. Like what was something that jumped out though? That's hmm. I used to play with Beyblades growing up. I used to
Yo,
love. Oh, let it rip! Oh my gosh! Yes. Oh my gosh.
my headphones came off.
Beyblades were so much fun. And you know what's so funny? Like, because I have nieces and nephews now. My nephews play with them now. So it's like a full circle kind of moment for me. Like when I saw them playing with it, I was like, I used to have some of those too. Like, but yeah, no, I love Beyblades. It was just so much fun to just kind of watch them just spinning around and fighting each other and all that stuff. That was a hoot.
I remember elementary school, we called it broke people blade, and we just used to spend coins and let them hit each other.
Broke people with Beyblade is crazy.
We have like the
Oh, that's
tournament where
funny.
just the pennies and then just the dimes, just the nickels, and then just the quarters. And then we had like crossover. It was a thing. So that's all.
That is so funny. I do remember like spinning coins, like I was sitting on a flick it, and I do remember doing that, but fighting with them, that's funny. That's new. I never did that when I was younger.
Now, I first found you on TikTok. I didn't
Mhm.
find you. You found me through the algorithm.
Yeah.
One of your videos came across my timeline. This was like early 2022.
Hmm.
Like, and I was like, "Yo, who is this? This is hilarious." Then I followed you, and then the rest is history. Now,
Hmm.
how would you explain yourself? How would you characterize yourself as a content creator?
That is such a great question. And it's funny because whenever people ask me like, "Oh, what kind of content you make?" Because I'll talk about like, "Oh, I have platforms, I have thousands of followers." I'm like, I just be picking up my phone and hitting record most of the time. Like I for a long time I remember putting in my bio just random and relatable content because I would just kind of just be myself and it would just be random, but I try to share my life experiences on my platform. um but I don't have a niche or anything. There are a couple things that I regularly do on my platform, like I'll tell my dad jokes, I'll wear my suspenders, that kind of stuff. But really I use my platform to just, I don't know, interact with people and just kind of share my life. And it still amazes me so many people follow me, to be honest with you. um because I think like most people just downloaded TikTok or started making content during the pandemic. Because I started in 20 April 2020, I think. um, and I just started off like doing a lot of the trends that people were doing and whatnot, reacting to videos. And then I could see over time that like my content was just starting to change. I was starting to like, okay, this is what I enjoy doing more, um, but yeah, I just kind of do whatever. um, but something I didn't mention, I have a podcast actually, and I have a whole separate social media presence for my podcast. So on those pages, because my podcast is about anime, so I'll
Anime
make a lot of
cousins.
mm-hmm, period. So so I will make a lot of anime content for that those pages and whatnot. So that is niche. So like I do have that, but yeah, I really just I don't know. I feel like I'm just kind of like a goofy person on the internet, and I just kind of do I just do whatever. I don't know. I'm just here.
I'm just out here just floating in your algorithm. If you find
Yeah.
me, I don't know why, but I'm there.
Yeah, literally. Literally. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Cuz like, I I always thought that I was kind of like a funny person, but I didn't think until like I actually started to have videos gain traction on the algorithm and like have more people following me. I was like, maybe I actually am funny. Maybe I wasn't just hyping myself up. Maybe I'm actually a little funny. So that was actually kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, no, I'm just here.
Now, before TikTok, did you have your podcast, Anime Cousins? Or like before TikTok, did you have other platforms? Like, were you on Vine back in the day?
No.
Child.
No. Oh, so I mean, did I scroll through Vine? Yes, but I never made content before TikTok. Um, and what's baffling is like if you had told me years ago that I would be like actually making content like this, I would not believe you because I'm such an introvert. I don't I just it's so outside of who I used to be, but like me making content has actually made me grow as a person. Um but yeah, I started the podcast actually. That's a great question. When did that? I think the end of 2021 we dropped our first episode, and then we've just been slowly releasing content since then.
I got you. Now you mentioned the the person that you are now because of content creation
Hmm.
is different than the person you were before. Who was Courtney before? I'm like the middle school version, high school version. I that because that definitely shapes the way you show up on whatever platform to begin with.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. Who was I? I don't I don't I don't know that person anymore. No, I've always been like I always hated using this word, but I was always a really shy person. Like I was and I still am pretty reserved. But I don't know. I've never was the kind of person to kind of put myself out there in any capacity really. And I don't know. I was just such a I, I was just so lame, you know, like I just I'm so much cooler. No, I'm still lame. But I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like well, I'll give you an example. Like when I went to college, because I'm from Michigan. I'm in Michigan now, actually.
Mhm.
But I went to college in Louisiana, and then I went to college in Atlanta after that. So like it wasn't until like I left home and I was just away from everyone that I started to realize like and just kind of I started to grow into myself because I was not around people. I don't want to say weighing me down, but putting me in a
A
box, I
box.
guess. So I just started from that point I started to grow. So like college me is closer to who I am now than like high school me for sure, but still even in college like I was still very reserved and everything, but I just let it all out now. But yeah. You look like you were about to say something earlier and I was just rambling. Sorry. What were you going to say?
No, that was I was well, you read my face very well. I was about to say that was a big it seems like it would have been a big culture shock going from Michigan to Louisiana and then to Georgia.
Yes.
Talk about that. Hold up. Wait a minute.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I went to school in New Orleans. So that was New Orleans was whew, that was yeah. So it's not that I because I traveled before then before like actually making it down to New Orleans, but being being there is such a well actually was so fascinating um at my school. A lot of my friends weren't even from Louisiana that I went to school with. They were from all over. So I started to meet so many different people from so many different areas and that was great. And it wasn't until like I started to go downtown, like I would go to Mardi Gras every year. Um and I was like, wow, this it's just such a completely different environment. People are just so different. Like it's just it was a huge culture shock. And then going to Atlanta, it was nice because it was really black and I love that. Um, but cause so I went to HBCU first, and then I went to PWY, so that was a huge change as well. So like that was all a lot, but I thoroughly enjoyed both experiences I had at both places. I love both cities. Um, but yeah, that's they're both very different from here in Michigan, that's for sure.
Oh, that's great. Okay, okay. Now getting back into specifically TikTok land,
Hmm.
how did you feel when you how did you feel the first time you went viral? And when I say viral, I can mean the first time you got over 100,000 views on a video, or 10,000, and then 100,000, and then over a mil. Because you be doing numbers. You be doing numbers
Do
on the
I?
TikTok.
So it's so funny that you say that because like well, okay. Because I remember when I had the first video that went, I'm trying to think. I think it got like 300,000 views. I think because in my mind, because at that time I was like, if it's over 100,000, that's viral. But it really anything more than the 300 plus views I was getting is viral. Like so, um, but I remember when that video went viral and I was like, "Oh my gosh, wait. See, so if the algorithm would just give me a chance, more people would find me and see how funny I am." um, but I what I enjoyed kind of with TikTok is trying to hit different I don't want to say milestones, but that's the best word I can come up with. Like I wanted to get a video where I had 100,000 views, and I wanted to get a video with 500,000 views, and I wanted to get a million. Then I wanted to get a million likes. Like I just, those are all goals that I set for myself with content creation. Um, and once I like started to like hit all of those things, I was like, okay, now what? Now what do I do? The last thing really, I still want to hit 100,000 followers. But I don't know. It's like kind of once you well. I will say this about like having viral videos. It is really nice in that moment. Um, but what is scary about having viral videos and people following you is now they expect you to post more content like that. Like I sometimes it's just like one hit wonder kind of situation, like I got it. I ain't got it. So that is something that like whenever stuff like that happens, I'm like, oh, maybe I should just post another one. Then it doesn't perform the same. I'm like, see, nah, I should have just left it alone. I should have just let it be what it had to be. But yeah, so I feel like it's nice going viral, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's I feel like it's a double-edged sword sometimes.
And the funny thing about going viral is that to people who aren't familiar with how social media works or familiar with what it means to get a lot of views on a video,
Hmm.
like people expect you to be like, oh, so TikTok pay you now? Or like you getting paid to, you got all these views. How much like you getting paid to do this?
Hmm.
Not a cent.
$0 and 0 cents.
Unless you go live and you do NPC work. That's another conversation. That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
Yo. So considering going viral, I'm curious about engagement from your end as the creator of the videos. Like, do you go through the comments and respond to people, and like, how do you engage? Like, how do you use social media as a content creator, but you still be following people and, like we just humans at the end of the day.
Right.
We all on the same internet.
Hmm. Right.
So how does that land for you?
So, okay. Okay. So I have like two things I have to say. So, as far as engagement, one huge thing for me about social media that I love is interacting with my following, my followers, my mutuals. So I do like to go through comments and respond to them. Um, however,
However, but
um,
also comma.
ugh, um, I've had situations recently where I start to get like the wrong kind of attention, I guess you could say, the wrong type of, you know how you hit the wrong side of TikTok, that kind of thing. So I deal with situations like that, and it makes me not want to interact with my comments anymore. But then I miss out on still interacting with my following and my mutuals and stuff like that. And it hurts. But like sometimes I really just kind of have to separate myself from like the interacting with people and just kind of focus on the content that I want to make. But one big thing for me and how I've like gained so many mutuals is like um if I see someone like constantly commenting on a post, sometimes I'll click on I'll click on their page and be like, they've actually been following me this whole time, and I'll follow them back. Like sometimes that's how I've gotten mutuals. Sometimes like I'll comment on other mutual stuff or other people's stuff, and the same thing will happen. Like so I like to engage, I like to interact, but sometimes like sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard and it's exhausting. It's just I just got to be in the right headspace for it, and I've been trying to prioritize my mental health lately. So
Mhm.
yeah.
And in that same vein of mental health, especially when you go viral,
Hmm.
especially when you are almost expected to perform
Hmm.
daily, three
Hmm.
times a day, because
Hmm.
social media does not stop.
Yeah.
Have there been moments when you just straight up hit burnout and you say, all right, y'all not going to see me for 2 weeks or a month? I don't know, but also bye because I need to take care of myself.
Hmm. Yeah, actually, it's crazy. I take so many breaks from social media now. I didn't used to. I used to just kind of push through. Um, that burnout feeling. You should be like, you know what, I'm trying to, because I used to try to be real consistent about posting 3 times a day, like whatever kind of videos it was, just 3 times a day, because that's how you're supposed to build your platform. You post regularly, consistently, all that kind of stuff, right? um but after a while, like, once, when you're interacting with people who bring so much negative energy, or when you're just like out of ideas or whatever, or whatever's just going on in your headspace, you just need a break. And I've just started to be like, you know what? The people who care about me will be here when I get back. So I start to take like way more frequent breaks. And I have to do that more instead of like just trying to push through, and then I end up taking like a really long break. So I'd rather just like take smaller breaks every so often. But yeah, I think I answered your question. I can't remember okay, okay.
Yeah. This is how do you handle burnout and what does it look like for you?
Mm-hmm.
Because that constant pressure to perform can be annoying, especially when you ain't getting paid for all the performance.
That part.
and and also it's like a lot of the people that you're quote unquote performing for, you're making
Mm-hmm.
videos for. Even your followers won't even see some of the stuff you post.
Mm-hmm.
So just straight up and down, it's like what am I doing here?
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, like, um, that is one thing I've had to stop. Like, I've had to stop looking at like the number of views that I get. Like, I really try to focus on like the engagement. Is my post getting engaged with? Like, I don't care so much like, oh, it didn't get as many views as the last time I posted something like that. Like, am I still getting a regular amount of comments on my content? That's what I've started to like focus on a little bit more. Because when you start to look at views, because the algorithm shifts so frequently on TikTok, so your views are going to fluctuate no matter what you do. Um, so I really just I've had to change my mindset so much just so I can stay motivated to, keep posting and everything.
Mm. And that's actually a major point of just being a content creator is mindset. Because at the very
Hmm.
end of the day, it takes a very special kind of person to put a phone up to their camera, film themselves face
Hmm.
first, and say a joke and have no idea how it's going to be responded to.
Hmm.
And you just be like, oh, I thought it was funny. Post.
Yeah, exactly. That's honestly like 80% of my content is like, you know what? I laughed. So I'm gonna post it.
So, and that's actually really important for just like your own stability because when you're
Hmm.
only posting and chasing vanity metrics, when those metrics shift,
Hmm.
because they will, then what happens when like the high is gone? Then what does it
Hmm.
mean for your mental health after all the views are gone or after all the people aren't watching whatever you
Right.
posted? But how would you, what advice would you give to somebody who was looking to like start from zero, get into posting on whatever platform, but what advice would you give to a first time content creator?
That's such a good question. ah, um, the thing I will always say is to I really feel like it's so corny if I say this, but you really have to be yourself. Like, I feel like if you put out your genuine self, the right people will find you. That's how I feel. Like, the platforms that I've started from nothing, and I've built up, I just give my genuine self every time, and I find the right people. But also, I feel like, and this might be a weird thing to say, but kind of learn your algorithm too. Cause like there, cause I post things on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and those are three very different algorithms. Those are very three different approaches to posting content. Um, so yeah, like sometimes like if you think like, okay, so I made this TikTok, let me post it on YouTube or something. It's not going to perform the same. It's just not. Most likely it's not. So you just kind of have to be um kind of aware of that. What was the other thing I was going to say? Well, I will say like also like don't give up, because I feel like I have this conversation like with my mutuals sometimes when, you know, their content is underperforming and stuff, and it's like, you know, you make good content, like sometimes the algorithm is not forgiving. Like you really just cannot give up on yourself and your content. You really have to believe in yourself, believe in what you put out and everything. So that's all the advice I'll give, I think.
That piece on not giving up though, because
Hmm.
if you don't find value in it yourself,
Hmm.
then it's going to be 10 times harder trying to get somebody else to find value in whatever you're posting.
Yep.
And if all your value just comes from what the algorithm be doing, that's nope, slippery slope.
Yeah, sure is.
Slippery
Sure
slope.
is. Mm-mm-mm.
Have you ever been recognized in real life from one of your videos?
No, but so what's okay, so this is a random story. I have a random story to share. But no,
Yes.
I haven't been recognized in real life. I think I would pass out if that actually happened. Um well, okay, hold on. Take well,
Let me sit
I
up.
sometimes my brain works faster than my mouth. Okay. So I have been to a anime convention before where I've seen like my mutuals there. I feel like that doesn't count. But but technically, yeah, like they have recognized me from TikTok. But again, I don't feel like this counts. But the story I wanted to share. So one of my mutuals, he told me that he was like walking through the store watching one of my videos, and like someone randomly walking past him was like, "Hey, is that Courtney?" or something like that. I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh." They said something like, "Was that the girl that wears suspenders?" Something like that. Like I was like, "What?" Oh my gosh, that was baffling to me. And I'm like, I'm really glad that doesn't happen to me, because I don't know how I would react, like honestly. But yeah, he told me that. I was like, you gotta be shitting me right now. Like there's no way. But
That
yeah,
is
I
trippy.
yeah, man. I think if I gain a larger following, if I actually went outside, maybe I would let me start with that. I have to actually go out and do stuff first for people to recognize me, but yeah, no, I still feel like I'm such a small fish in this large pond of social media. But yeah. Have you been recognized before?
I have actually, but it wasn't even from TikTok. It was from Vine. This
You
was yeah, yeah. This is back in college actually, and it was the randomest thing.
Mhm.
So I started creating content on Vine back in late summer 2013, going to my
Mhm.
freshman year. My goodness, I had a time. And my Vines are still available. Like I still have the link to every video I've ever posted since what, June 2014, something like that. Regardless, my goodness. I was at school and I was an RA in college. So resident assistant, I was the one in the residence halls who took care of a given floor of students. So it's a sophomore year. I go downstairs for something, go to the
Mhm.
lobby. There were a bunch of like overnight high school students who were like visiting campus for the first time or whatever.
Mhm.
One of the visitors was with one of my residents. They came into the lobby and said,
Mhm.
"Well, you didn't do from Vine." I said, "Oops. I mean, I am, but how do you know that?"
That is insane.
Yo, that day I was like, Am I famous?"
Are you famous? Famous?
No,
Okay. Period.
but that was funny because I think I maxed out at like 10K followers on Vine,
Mhm.
and I probably bought like 600 of them through
Mhm.
like those apps. And I
Mhm.
remember I was so obsessive about those. Like, yeah, I'm gonna get my follower count up. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
this. regardless, yeah, I've been recognized from Vine, and I'm just waiting for the day when they get recognized from TikTok.
It's gonna happen.
It's like it's bound to happen. Now, funny thing is, I've been not necessarily recognized. Friends of mine
Mhm.
have been sent videos of mine to them from other friends, and they'd be like, "Wait, I know him."
Yeah.
Wait, and then they'll let me know, like, "Oh snap! Oh, on a video."
Yeah. No, it's so funny because when that happens, I'm like, ugh, now they know the other side of me.
Been
Ah,
outed on a public
been
platform.
outed. Hmm.
Yes. But it's also really wild how there's this weird sense of hiding in plain sight because I have plenty of family members and plenty of friends who have no idea
Hmm.
about what I do on social media, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, podcasting. They have no idea.
Hmm.
And yet I'm also getting reposted on the Today Show. Like,
What?
yeah,
That's so cool. I didn't know about that.
see, you didn't even you didn't know.
I didn't. That's so cool.
No, but
Wow. What content was it that got reposted?
it was the video, which is also a funny story about this one particular video. It's iPhone apps when all of their friends around them are getting deleted, and it was the shaky phone
I think I
effect.
remember that one.
Yeah, and it's like so that video was actually a repost.
Hmm.
So the first time I posted it on TikTok, it got like 2,000 views. All
Hmm.
right. And then I reposted it literally 1 year later to the
Hmm.
day without even realizing that it was the same day.
Hmm.
Reposted it 1 year later to the day. It got over a million on TikTok.
Hmm.
And then I also posted it to posted it to Instagram as well.
Hmm.
And then the Today Show found the video on TikTok
Hmm.
and said, "Can we repost this on our Instagram?"
Hmm.
And I was like, "Yeah, the same videos on Instagram. Like, do you own the rights?" I was like, "Yeah, I own the rights." Ooh.
Hmm.
And I was like, "Wow, that's wild."
That is wild. But that's awesome. That's so cool.
And guess how much they paid me? Zero.
I was gonna say, yep. I already know. That's and honestly, now that you say that, like I turned off downloading on my content because I was tired of
Really?
yeah, I was tired of people like because I actually so one of my most popular videos, um, so many people were downloading it or whatever and posting it on their platforms, not tagging me or crediting me in any way, they're getting the millions of views and I'm getting nothing. Like I'm just like, I'm not getting any followers from this. You're getting all the followers because you're posting my content. Like I got tired of that. So now yeah, you can't download my videos. But I mean, so many people find there are ways around that anyway. So it's whatever. But
I was about to say a quick screen record, and your video's not.
yep. So, but yeah, yeah, because actually, you know what? It's because one of my friends had sent me. Do you know who Amanda Seals is?
I know Amanda Seals. She was on Insecure.
One of my friends sent me her story, and it was one of my videos, but it wasn't linked to me at all. It was someone else that posted my video, and she shared it to her story, and I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, ugh. So I was like, yeah, no. No one can download my videos now because y'all are getting all this attention, but it's not coming back to me in any way. So whatever. I hate it here.
That is wild. And I've
Yeah.
had people in my DMs like they'll ask me and it's wild. Like I call them like compilation accounts, and it's those
Mhm.
accounts where they don't post anything original. It's all just repost accounts. And
Yeah.
repost accounts, they be going crazy on the numbers. But
Mhm.
it's all because they're basically like curation machines, essentially.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like Daquan, that one account that everybody just knows. And it's just like a comedy curation factory. And
Mhm.
it's like it curates a specific style of comedy that
Mhm.
people would just be like, oh yeah, that's funny. Slash, after a certain amount of time, this must be funny because it's on that page. And I often think about how
Yeah.
so much of social media is based on peer pressure, essentially, slash groupthink. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, do I like this because I actually objectively think it has comedic value or any
Mm-hmm.
value? Or because 1.7 million people also like this?
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say?
You know, it's so interesting you say that because there's something I realized recently that if I'm scrolling like aimlessly on TikTok, I will like subconsciously stop if I see that video has a lot of likes or comments on it. Like I will subconsciously like, "Mwah, why does this have so many views?" and I'll watch it. So it's interesting you say that. And it's bad because it's the other way around too. I'm like, man, nobody interacted with this and I keep scrolling. But that's very it's a very bad mindset to have, at least for the no views, because every video is going to start off with no views, so somebody's got to engage with it. So I'm much better with that now, but yeah, I used to just be like, man, what is this on my For You page?
Now, what's something that people would be surprised to know about you? And it can be like a hidden talent, and it gotta be no juicy tea or nothing like that. But like, what's something that's like you never talk about on any social media platform that people be like, "Oh snap! I didn't know they could play the flute," like that type of thing.
I wish I was talented enough to play an instrument. And this is gonna sound so stupid, but there's really nothing interesting about me that I don't at least already share on social media to some extent. I think anytime I've mentioned before that I like my background school wise, like I have a physics degree and an engineering degree. So I think
That
it's
is
like,
dope.
yeah.
What?
Yeah. I think it's jarring for people to see that like that's what my background is. Like I'm not working now, but yeah, I've worked full time as an engineer for 3 years. So yeah, but I don't share a lot about that. I usually I don't share a whole lot about like my personal life on well, that's a lie. That's a lie. I feel like it's certain aspects of my personal life I share on social media, but um I try to be real careful about what I do share because people are crazy. So that's why I don't talk about where I am or anything like that. But yeah, I'm an engineer. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
That is so dope. Now it's funny. My fiance, she has a degree in fire protection engineering.
Mhm.
She don't use a lick of it in daily life.
That's funny.
It was funny because at the crib, the fire alarms, like the smoke detectors, they were beeping for whatever
Mhm.
reason, and they shouldn't have been because I replaced the batteries, and I even made a
Mhm.
video about it. But
Mhm.
regardless, it was funny because at that moment I was like, well, okay, uh, fire pro engineer, what do we do now with these smoke detectors? She was like, let's take the batteries out. Just this.
That is so funny because that and it's funny because like so my degree is in mechanical engineering.
Mhm.
So many times someone in my family, if something's broke, was like, Courtney, you're an engineer, you can figure it out. How do we fix this? I'm like, wait, that's not what my degree is for. It would just be the most random stuff. I'm like, just because it's some type of technology does not mean that I know how to make it work.
My degree is
That's
not for
funny.
your car stereo, Auntie. Leave me alone.
Oh my gosh, it's insane.
What's also been really dope though, some of your earlier content actually did involve your family members. And like your dad made some appearances and that
Hmm.
stuff was funny. How does I guess your family play into like consecration and also just like life? Like, do you have siblings? Do you only child or what?
Where do I start? I do.
Mhm.
I do have siblings. So I have two older sisters. I so it's funny. If you're close to me in any way, I try to force you to make at least one TikTok with me. Like I just I just try to. I always think of like if I'm seeing someone I haven't seen in a while, I'm like, okay, what kind of sound can I use? Like it's the wheels are always
We're gonna
turning.
hit this dance.
Yes, yes. I love making content with my family, like, but it's funny, like Because one of my favorite videos, besides the one that I recently shared, but one I did with my parents, where it was just them, like they were the only ones in the video. They did I don't know if you saw their golf video.
I did.
Yeah. So they had so much fun making that video. And I had so much fun like helping them make the video. So my mom is always like, wanting to make more content, but they like that because they had it wasn't a lot of lines they had to say, it wasn't a lot for them to do. So I try to find like low effort videos for them to do. But no, I love when people want to do like videos with me, or just let me record them, because I sometimes I like being behind the camera more than I like being on the camera, to be honest, but just
Yeah.
depends. Yeah. I actually, like, once I get my life back together, I want to get back into photography. Like, I never was really like fully in photography, but like my dad had one of those like nice, like, the little black cameras with the big lens. I would always just take it and just take a bunch of pictures. Like, I love taking pictures, but I hate taking pictures of myself. Oh, I hate it. And being on camera, and that's another reason why like I'm still like so shocked at how much I my face is all over the internet. Because I'm very much like a what's the best, like I feel like a side character like most of the time more than a main character, which is what I feel like more now with me posting so much content and everything. Like, everyone's like, oh, Courtney's TikTok famous and all that. I'm like, why are you lying?
Don't you see a lot of these people?
Literally. Yeah.
Within photography, what type of stuff did you like to take pictures of?
Nature. Like I
Aliens.
oh, that's funny. But yeah, so I remember like one of my favorite pictures I took, and I'm so mad that I don't know where it is. One of these winters here in Michigan was awful, and it was like an ice storm. And me and my dad went out and took pictures of the trees because it was ice on the branches of the trees. And I got a really good picture of the light coming through the icicles on the trees. Like, it was just sparkly. Like, it was so pretty. Like, it was such a nice picture. But yeah, I just like outside. Like, I just like taking pictures of outside.
What's a travel destination? Like if you had the greatest camera in the world, you was a professional photographer, where would you like to go next to do a photo shoot of the natures, of the birds and trees?
Actually, well, mm, okay. See, there's a lot going on up here. So we went to Yosemite out in California, and we went during a time where the waterfalls were just like so, what's the word? Full? I don't know what the word is, because
The
sometimes if you go,
waterfalls is falling.
they were falling. Yeah. I think, did we go in the spring, like when everything melted and stuff? I don't know. It was a time where it was just so beautiful. And we got some amazing pictures, not of just like the waterfalls, but just they had some like humongous trees out there. Like, I would love to go back there, but I would want to go out of the country more. I did my first international trip to Costa Rica a couple months ago, and that was amazing. And I love taking pictures while I was out there. But I want to venture out to somewhere in South America. I don't know where, but well, no, I do want to go to Rio. I want to go to Brazil, but I just want to go. I just don't want to be here. just I don't I need to find a travel buddy, and I need to just go because I like to experience new things and new cultures and everything. I can't do that in Michigan, so
Oh, that's also another dope thing that you just never would have guessed from your content, that you're a budding photographer, basically.
I wouldn't say that.
I'm already speaking into existence. You about to win a Pulitzer Nobel Peace winning award thing.
I'm
And this will be
screaming.
featured in Time magazine, and you're gonna be out here.
Hmm. Oh my gosh. No, I appreciate you. What I did buy recently, I say recently, even though it was like 2 years ago, I think. I bought a Polaroid camera, and I love the way the pictures just come out. Why it's almost like it has a filter on it, already. Like, it's just And I like that I can just literally capture something in the moment and just look at it like, but yeah, no, I've always loved taking pictures. I don't know why. But like I said, like being behind the camera just feels more comfortable to me. But
Going back to social media, what's one thing that you know now about being a content creator that you wish you knew on day one? Like that you wish you knew before recording that first video?
we talked about when videos go viral and sometimes you start to get a lot of negative comments and stuff. One thing at first, like, um, I let that consume me a lot, engaging with those negative comments and stuff, and thinking like, what am I doing to get people like this to, interact with my content? And it's like, I had to realize like, sometimes it's not you. Sometimes it's really just not you. Um, because that was hard for me. Like I remember I had one video where everyone was just calling me racist, and I was like, I started to think like, man, am I actually racist?
Am I
And it's
tweaking?
just like, I know I'm not racist. Like, so I don't. Oh, but yeah, like I think I've had to learn to like not let the negativity consume me. I think that's been like a huge thing. As far as like making content, like just like small things like focusing on better lighting and stuff. I wish that was something I was more conscious of in the beginning, but I'm way more conscious of that now. Trying to think what else. I feel like those are like two major things that I've like. Well, yeah, those are like major things that I've learned along my journey of content creation for sure.
Okay. Well, those are all my questions for now. Do you have any questions for me or any pressing thoughts? It's like I wonder.
What made you start making content?
My sister,
Really?
we used to watch Vines all the time,
Hmm.
and one day she was like, "You should make videos. You have a good sense of humor, and like the jokes that you make connected to the videos you be watching. You're funny." And I was like, "First of all, thank you. Thank you so much."
Stop. Like, no, I get it.
Oh, you.
Hmm.
So, and she's 5.5 years younger than me. She's my baby sister. It's
Hmm.
just us two.
Hmm.
So I value her opinion heavily.
Fair enough.
So I just started making videos. And then I genuinely have ideas and thoughts literally just from everywhere all at
Hmm.
once. And I have to make something to get them out of my brain, or else I will combust. I will self-destruct. I will
Hmm.
implode because I'm a very creative human being.
Hmm.
I be doing all the things
Yeah.
all the time. So that's why I create content. And the funny thing is, I make stuff that makes me laugh
Hmm.
or stuff that I want to see more of on the interwebs or just in the world.
Yeah.
So even when I was only getting 8 likes,
Hmm.
8 views,
Hmm.
it didn't matter to me because I found it funny.
Hmm. Right.
And
You gotta be your own biggest fan.
when I look back at my stuff, I will legit watch my stuff like I didn't make it and have a good old black time doing it.
Hmm.
Just laughing like, where did you come up with that? Mm-hmm.
No, literally same. Same. Oh my gosh. That's why specifically like all the millennial content. Like what made you start like kind of focusing on that?
My first TikTok, January 7th, 2022. It was one of my uncultured videos.
Hmm.
And my very first TikTok got about 160,000 views.
Hmm.
And I was like, hmm, okay, noted. And then
Hmm.
I started making a whole bunch of other stuff just to
Hmm.
experiment. And then I eventually got back and made a whole series and all that stuff. But my whole thing is, I was upset when Vine died.
Fair enough.
So I'm basically avenging Vine's death low key.
I love that.
But with millennial nostalgia, like that's just all the stuff that honestly just brings me joy. Like
Mm-hmm.
I will go and watch Empress New Groove like it came out 2 days ago
Mm-hmm.
and love every ounce of it. And it's like the stuff from childhood, I was really big into like media
Mm-hmm.
in whatever given form. So like old YouTube, Vine, all the Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network shows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I consumed a lot of media growing up, and I really think about it. Quoting stuff and references and all that stuff. All of that is just, yo, this stuff is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm basically creating like a museum with my content, like
Mm-hmm.
with my platforms essentially. And it's just easy. It flows so easily. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the type of stuff that I create because it just comes so naturally.
Okay, I got you. One last thing I wanted to ask. Is there any specific creator or creators that inspired you to
Kev
make
on
content?
stage. Kev on stage.
Ah, I love Kevin on stage.
He he didn't and he so from jump, I didn't really know who he was back in 2014 for
Mm-hmm.
so much. My first introduction to him was actually probably like closer to 2016 with All Deaf and
Mm-hmm.
watching the roast me videos.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got introduced to him there and then saw everything that he's been building since then. But it's funny, my inspiration doesn't necessarily come from the stuff that he makes,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the way that he approaches content creation
Mm-hmm.
and the way that he has created his own enterprise of sorts. And it's not even just by him, like he's creating a universe based off of his collaborations and connections with other comedians and
Mm-hmm.
performers and actors and actresses and all that good stuff. And like just the way like his approach to it is so wholesome to me. I
Yeah.
really rock with that heavy. So that's part of the reason why, like with MDM Network, like I'm creating a content creation network. Like it's in the name.
Yeah.
And that's like why I'm doing these interviews because one, I'm also capturing a moment in time that we'll never have again.
Yeah.
And like talking to people that like I actually follow, like
Mm-hmm.
people stuff that I like actually engage with their content.
Mm-hmm.
I remember on Vine where it was like there was a level of separation. Where it's like there's the video and the content creator, and then there's the viewer.
Mm-hmm.
But now with the advent of DMs, the
Mm-hmm.
gap has closed.
Yeah.
But there's still that gap mentally for a lot of people on social
Mm-hmm.
media where it's like, oh, they have so like such and such number of followers. They'll never see my DM or anything like
Right.
that, or they'll never respond to me. I'm combating that altogether where it's like, one, when people reach out to me, I am quick with responding. And when
Mm-hmm.
people give me requests, like
Mm-hmm.
I ask for requests because like that opportunity to feel seen, heard, and understood by your favorite content creator, like that is so dope to me. And now
Yeah.
to be in that place where I can do that and say, you want a video idea? I can try to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And then watch that joint go viral because of something that you recommended. Like
Right.
that's fun. Like that's the
Yeah.
fun side of it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in creating MDM Network, I guess helping people with content creation, helping people who want to get started with being a content creator from scratch, or even people who they got it, like they got their stuff going, but they're also navigating burnout. So like
Yeah.
I want to help provide solutions for that. I want
Mm-hmm.
to, just make funny stuff and like
Mm-hmm.
intriguing stuff.
Yeah.
To answer your question, yeah, Kevin on Stage is a dope content creator that I definitely look towards.
Yeah. I've been following him for a minute, a good old minute. I don't even remember the first time I've seen him, but he's hilarious. I love him. But yeah, I always enjoy like kind of picking the brains of like other creators. Just cuz like I don't do this I really don't like communicate with like anyone outside of social media. There is a very small number of people that I communicate with outside of social media. So I always love to just kind of have conversations with people if I can. If I can get through my social anxiety and everything. I'm excited though, and I'm excited for you, and I'm glad I could be, someone to offer you some type of support along your journey with your podcast. That's awesome. I'm glad you reached out to me. That's That's so cool.